feeling down there. It's a cold, cruel, harsh reality. Caught, stuck here with your enemies. Who do you think you are? Tearing us all apart. Where did you think you could go? 'Cause everyone already knows it's 20 to 1. Yeah, so you better run. You got the world on its knees. You're taking all that you please. You want more, but you get nothing from me. You like the burden we bear. You love the hate that we share. You want more, but you get nothing from me. But enemies, enemies.
Oh, Michael, this is going to be fun to watch. Edge of the... Oh, my God. Look out! McDonald! That killed him! Oh, my God. Let's go, let's bear witness. He is broken in half.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to this week's recap show with your host, the Boss Chase Carter. And we're recapping Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT here. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in again this week for another edition here on the podcast, on the All-Star Wrestling Podcast. And we had a pretty interesting, fun week of this week's wrestling going on in WWE. I think let's go over some of what happened on Monday Night Raw. And here we go with the opening here. It says, for starters, there is anything more terrifying than Brock Lesnar showing up to rejuvenate the show. And they were from Corpus Christi, and he says they were really hyped up about this show. And he says he was pretty pleased with it. And he says, I think it's the first time since he's come back to WWE, he actually looks encouraged at a crowd like this. It was horrifying in the best way possible. Then to get Heath Slater, they said, and he was sad, despite man who needs to, a desperate man who needs to find a steady work. He is so desperate, in fact, he is willing to die for it. Clearly. Paul Heyman tries to blow him off, believing he is the very ideal of a Slater versus Lesnar match to be so ridiculous, it's not even worth considering. One of WWE's biggest problems is scripting its characters to react to the unnatural ways. There are opposites of that fact. It's just, of course, they would blow Slater off. Heath Slater, that's Brock Lesnar, and then we don't need another death on this day. And then Slater is remembered, and it is desperate, but he cannot stand for this. After all, he has a family to feed, and he's willing to take a whooping to provide for those he loves. The downright heart-wrenching. You almost start putting over for a guy whenever, just moments before, you were thirsty for his blood. Then, the surprise of everyone, Lesnar takes the microphone from Heyman, who, mind you, was actually attempting to save Slater's life at this point. In an even bigger shock, Brock Lesnar says to Heath Slater, and bringing up the fact that he too has responsibilities and he too has children to feed. And then after getting right up in Slater's face with this glare in his eyes, he delivers the line of his life. He says, I don't give a shit about your kids. That brief glimmer of hope that the beast had, and then after replaced by overwhelming dread and sudden horrifying of what he knew to be true all along. And it says, then another surprise, Lesnar took pity on this poor soul standing in front of him. He offered him the opportunity to walk away, to bark up another tree, to test his fate elsewhere. Here, he already decided there's hope out there, and theirs is only hurt here. Slater, fully stripped of his duty, perhaps considered taking Lesnar up on his offer. He was still just a man. However, he simply could not stand at the humbled in such a way while attempting to swerve to survive here, to serve the most basic function of his family. So he tried. And so he died. The larger ideal here is that the way they build Lesnar's match against Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and it is Orton's only hope of winning the catch of Brock Lesnar by surprise. He was not able to do so now, and the ability to do so will see him meet the same fate. Poor Heath Slater. Then we have Finn Balor has been a member of the main roster for all but 5 minutes, and he's already the Universal Championship match that may headline SummerSlam. They even been devoted entire segments developing his character with his slick video package and actually interesting scripting. Then this. It's his first, the stow of the Finn Watch gimmick from your best friends right here at Cage Side Seats, which is fine because of a good gimmick and using the Demon King's first main roster appearance on the last episode of Raw before SummerSlam, which Balor slayed to have the biggest match of his career. Makes sense now how? And it doesn't. To answer it, it doesn't. What's more, there is a literally nothing impressive about said appearance. He showed up. Seth Rollins wasn't afraid of him. He get right in his face, threw the first punch, and they had a back and forth. That was it. And it was like any other throwaway segment. Nothing special about it. Sure, the Demon got the upper hand in the end. And the entire idea behind the Demon King is he is the monster Finn unleashes to destroy the souls of those who aspire him. Also, the main Shane put it, if they taught me anything, is that Balor is going to have to turn into the actual supernatural being to have any shot at SummerSlam, which is funny because of the entire build-up for the match has been about the establishing him as a character. Okay, and let's go over some of the matches here. And we had Sami Zayn defeated Sheamus here. And it says a real nice physical match with a solid story that really is continuing the ongoing program with Sheamus versus Cesaro. It says, I really enjoy Sami celebrating like that and they won the championship while completely ignoring the fact that he won't because of Cesaro interfered. Zayn, by the way, by the babyface. Still, this was fun. Also fun, a best of 7 series is basically the ideal way to book Sheamus versus Cesaro program. Then let's go over another match here. We had some segments in there, and I'm not going to really go over that. We had Neville versus defeated Jinder Mahal. Well, they brought the veteran to put over the wrestler who could be a star. Here we go. Then we had, looks like another segment here. And then we had Charlotte defeated Alicia Fox. This was fine for what it was. The post-match all put with Sasha Banks deserving something more. It says, I'm a little more hung up on Banks calling Dana Brooke Miss Piggy. And it says, I will never understand WWE thinking right here to use babyface this way. Use the insult, fine. But do it to get Hart on the heel and make sure you get, something out of it here. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Sasha isn't edgy for saying something that isn't true. It's just dumb. And we had the payback segment here. It says Golden Truth did less Pokemon Go hunting and more jobbing for the club, which is the win of all of us. Also, Anderson and Gallows going as far as they have with the gig about Big E balls is worth so much more than any waste of trying to catch the clear lizards. And it says also being made clear that the only true payback of New Day is to get the club to crush someone nutsack. Now we have even more reason to look forward to this match. Okay, and it looks like that's going to be about all of the Raw's recap. Let's go over SmackDown's recap and give you an insight on that. And it says this week's SmackDown, they come from Austin, Texas, the state capital, of course, of Texas. And then we have the intro that they hit in the ring. We have the Miz and Maurice in the ring. She introduces him, and she tries to introduce Miz TV, but the typical tradition, Dean Ambrose interrupts. Thank God he did. Ambrose reminds us that SummerSlam is only a couple days away before Dolph Ziggler interrupts, and he isn't sorry for cutting Ambrose off, but Ambrose does need to talk to make a point. They stare down. Ensures because of the Miz interrupts and reminds us of the Miz TV, and Ambrose versus Ziggler are here to talk, not fight. Miz starts to talking about how Ziggler and an afterthought 6 months ago quickly rose up and now is facing Ambrose for the WWE Championship. Miz wonders what will happen after Ziggler lost at SummerSlam. Ziggler isn't worried about that. He's only worried about this Sunday. Ambrose doesn't buy a word of it. Miz tries to mockingly react, but it's shut down by Ziggler. Ziggler then goes on by asking Ambrose about what he wants from Ziggler. And he goes through some of the things before he tells Ambrose that he's right. However, after that match at SummerSlam, Ziggler will be the winner. Ambrose asks Ziggler if he thinks that everything will be better if he wins the title. At the end of the day, the pressure is so much more, and the demons are still there. Ziggler can't handle pressure so much that he can barely handle being the start of his own movies. And then Ziggler has a big clip on his shoulder, a big chip on his shoulder, and it would be a downfall. Then the faces of Ambrose, Ziggler is going to get schooled, but is going to prove something as well. He doesn't want the title bad enough, and he never going to get it. Ziggler responds by saying that Ambrose doesn't know a damn thing about him. According to Ziggler, Ambrose does know one thing despite using everything in his arsenal, and it does not going to be enough to put Ziggler away. Ambrose will have to dig and dig for one last move, and then super kick. Ziggler kicks Ambrose's head off and says he is a damn good and leaves. And I should note that Miz and Maurice approved of that segment. Oh, and during the commercial break, we actually did have a Miz TV featuring Apollo Creed, according to Miz. He got a power bomb for it. Then we had the Usos versus the Hot Bros and the American Alpha versus Breezango, the Ascension, and the Von Villains. This was a short version of a typical Teddy Long special. The faces won when the American Alpha hit the grand amplitude here with and English here. The Usos, Hot Bros, and American Alpha versus Breeze and the Ascension and the Von Villains. So that was a great match there. The Usos, the Hot Bros, and American Alpha wins that match. Then we had Eva Marie versus Naomi. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big debut. And then wait a minute. The first we have to see Naomi comes out with her new entrance. Or not, the traffic is impelling Eve, and she can't make it. Oh, she couldn't make it to the ring, folks. Then we have backstage news here. Naomi was all lit up like a crystal ball with her glow stick. I called her a human glow stick on my live stream. Backstage, we had Alberto Del Rio getting ready for his match when AJ Styles comes to give Del Rio a pep talk about beating up John Cena. Del Rio says that he doesn't need it. After all, he is done for a long time. And AJ then burns Del Rio by saying Del Rio isn't even on the card, while AJ Styles the main guy on the show. Then we get some Kurt Hawkins facts. I wonder who's returning soon. Looks like Kurt Hawkins is going to be returning to SmackDown Live. We also heard rumors of The Undertaker possibly making his return to SmackDown Live. Is that going to happen? We're going to find out. Heath Slater versus Randy Orton. Stop the presses. Heath Slater wins when Randy Orton gets himself disqualified while beating up Slater in the corner. Heath Slater defeated Randy Orton by disqualification. Afterward, Randy Orton destroys Slater. After Slater suddenly dispatched, Orton poses on the turnbuckle before Wyatt's interrupts, say that they're here. Then we have backstage news. Heath Slater lies on the training table while Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan congratulate him on his victory. Slater slurs his words badly and has no idea where in the hell he is. But he doesn't stop Shane from offering him a contract. Slater thanks Shane by calling him Stephanie or something. As Slater gets ready to sluggily aside, Shane takes the contract away, leaving Slater in the mess that he was in. Then we have Dean Ambrose versus Eric Rowan. This one happened. Ambrose won with a dirty deeds. Dean Ambrose defeated Eric Rowan. After the match, Bray Wyatt abandons Rowan, and after his loss, he walked out on him. Then we had Becky Lynch and Carmella versus Alexa Bliss and Natalia, my bad. This one happened and went quick. And oh my God, it's Eva Marie survived the traffic. And she's going to get involved in this match. Wait a minute. Naomi comes in her new outfit she's got on and chases Eva Marie into the ring, and Natalia not going to take any of that and throws Naomi out of the ring. Then after a little moment, Becky looks like Natalia and with the disarmor to win, and then so there you go. Natalia wins the match. Then backstage, we got Baron Corbin beats up Kalisto again. And then after the Brock Lesnar Randy Orton video package, Eva Marie, Natalia, Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch and Naomi Carmella is made official for SummerSlam. Then we have John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio. AJ Styles is on commentary for this. The show affair that the re-segment here of a lot of John Cena matches, Alberto Del Rio gets a lot of offense in here, but is put over with an AA to lose. John Cena defeated Alberto Del Rio. Then after the match, we had AJ hit Cena with a phenomenal forearm and then says he is sick of hearing that the future goes through Cena. And then after Sunday, AJ will be the face that runs the place. Cena's time is up. AJ's time is down. But it is not over. AJ goes for Styles Clash, but Cena stops and then hits the AA. Cena then clears the announce table, throws AJ Styles into the steel stairs, drags and then stairs to the announce table, and AA through the table. So he AA'd AJ Styles through the announce table. And I was like, that was a perfect way to really close out the show for SmackDown and to really hype up SummerSlam. Now let's go over NXT. It says the final stop for the road to Brooklyn. Of course, NXT's TakeOver is tonight. Want to make sure you tune in for that. And this is one of the most exciting weekends of wrestling year is finally here. NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn is this Saturday night. But before we can get there, we have one final NXT episode before the big show. The last year's show was very high water mark of NXT. So the most interesting to see how the finish to build for this year's show. NXT was full of action last week. And there's new matches that were added to the TakeOver. And we saw the new chapters of Bayley versus Asuka, and then Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura feuds. This week's Hito Itami returns to action for the second time since returning from his injury. Plus Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura took, in fact, a sit-down interview following the last week's Heated and Changed. This week's show was different for the most, as there are only 2 matches, and most of the show has made a pre-tape of to hype up the TakeOver. Let's take a look of how everything played out during the final NXT before the TakeOver Brooklyn. Hito Itami versus Mustafa Ali, the newcomer that's from the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. Now there. We got Hito Itami. He's in a good second match back from his injury. Went up against the CWC competitor, Mustafa Ali. Mustafa lost the first round match against Lance Dorego, and obviously did enough to impress NXT officials to be brought back to face Itami, which is Corey Graves points out. Hito Itami will get one of the most important parts of NXT going forward from the many wrestlers who brought during the draft, interrupting how long it takes to get back to the top form. The NXT will tell you that everyone, whether is returning the name star Hito Itami, is returning for CWC competitor Ali and is trying to prove that he deserves a place in NXT, while says like Zayn, Owens, and Balor helped make NXT the legit brand. There is no longer here, so the main event spots are up for grabs. Hito Itami beat Ali for a quick match, and you can tell he's still getting his feet back under him after being out of action for almost 18 months. While Hito Itami won't have a match, if any impact at Saturday's TakeOver, he would be the big-time player for the next set of taping and beyond. So Hito Itami wins that match. Congratulations to Hito Itami. Then we have, looks like Carmella, Lava Morgan, Nikki Storm, Dario, and Manny Rose and Alexa Bliss. It says, I wrote last week's NXT's women's division might be in trouble with Bayley heading into the main roster soon. And right on cue, they debuted the 2 new women's 6 6-man tag team match, which I should think they should call it a 6-women's tag team match, not a 6-man. But anyway, it makes sense that the NXT would bring back Carmella and Alexa Bliss for this match, as you don't want the NXT audience to be totally lost. But it also speaks to the depth of NXT women's roster. While it may not be a depth as before, I also credit NXT with no wasting any time for a transition. Bayley Kay has a mini winning streak going, which will probably come into the end of NXT's takeover. And now we have 2 new debuts. And I like the idea of debuting Nikki and Daria during the 6 women's tag team match here, because it allows them to get some in the ring experience before asking them to carry a one-on-one match. It also allows them to be in the ring with 2 of the veteran women performers of NXT in Bliss and Carmella, and most impressive of these 6 me was Daria, and I think NXT could really use someone with the MMA background, and I like her to look a lot, and I think the character work of taking the boxing gloves before the fight as well as the spear, and she hits on Nikki Storm during the match, and a finishing sentence here the creative as well as Carmella turned to pin the attempt into her submission finisher with the code of silence. So a very interesting match there that happened on NXT this week. Then we had Billie Kay. She interrupted General Manager William Regal and becomes the first victim of the debuting here, Emma Armour Moon. Hopefully, Billie will enjoy her short-lived winning streak, because I have a feeling Armour Moon is going to be the next big thing in NXT Women's Division. It's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight on NXT's TakeOver with Armour Moon coming out. Let's see what else we got here. And then it says most of the matches for Saturday's show were given pre-tape videos, and WWE can the page out the NXT's book when they come to hyping up lower card matches. Apollo Crews is fighting for The Miz for the Intercontinental title Sunday at SummerSlam. Their final encounter happening between the commercial break on SmackDown. On the other hand, NXT found out a way to hype all the matches on 1-hour show. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa versus The Rival. And then we got Austin Aries versus No Way Jose and Bobby Roode versus Andrade. Anyway, the newcomer there were all bunches of into the one video, but quickly summed up how each competitor or team gets a position they are cinematically get you ready for excited for each match on Saturday night. The best pre-tape video of the night, a highlight feud between Bayley and Asuka, and it says mainly because of the most history that they have together. And it says the video does have a great job of showing exactly what Bayley is up against this on Saturday, and also how tough and Asuka can be in the ring. Could this be Bayley's NXT swan song? Is there anyone who can knock Bayley out of NXT for good? It's Asuka, and I agree with this. And we got one more thing here on NXT to talk to you about. NXT went off the air last week. Samoa Joe was being held back by security while Shinsuke Nakamura was taunting him, even slapping him on the face. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that slapping Samoa Joe is a bad idea. But I have a feeling Nakamura knows that he's doing. Maybe Nakamura is rattling up Joe so he abandons his game plan and fights the style Nakamura will be ready for. Whatever the reasons for the slap was, Joe and Nakamura was given a round 2 by the general manager William Regal in the form of a sit-down interview. The conflict here is simple. Samoa Joe busted his butt to get to an NXT title shot, and he feels that like Nakamura doesn't deserve to be a number 1 contender. There is some truth to that, as Joe debuted last year at NXT's Brooklyn and had to fight and scratch to get to NXT's title shot. Nakamura debuted at NXT Dallas, and after only a handful of matches, finds himself as the number 1 contender. The beauty of Samoan Joe is that he doesn't stop there. He turns it like the conspiracy here theory against him being the NXT champion. For the second week in a row, NXT goes off the air with security holding back the NXT's Samoa Joe while Nakamura remains untouched. This has him turned into one of the more unpredictable NXT main event in recent memory. Nakamura is a bright, new, undefeated star, but Samoa Joe beat the Demon and the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. Nakamura definitely has the edge in the mental game here after the 2 weeks, but Joe has proved time and time again that he can physically dominate anyone he's in the ring with. Who will walk away with the NXT title? We'll have to tune in this Saturday night, which is tonight, for NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn. It's going to be happening live tonight on the WWE Network. Make sure everybody go sign up for the WWE Network, because we got the NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn tonight. And we have SummerSlam. Yes, SummerSlam is tomorrow night. A 6-hour show, 2-hour pre-show, plus a 4-hour main show that's going to be going down on the WWE Network. We also want to tell the viewers that I will be going live tonight for Saturday's night NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn on the WWE All results page. So be sure to tune into that, and at 8/7 Central. Also, we're going to be going live for SummerSlam tomorrow night as well. So we're going to be covering all this. We're going to be all going live for this on the WWE All results page. And right here on the All-Star podcast, we're going to be keeping you updates on what's going on throughout the week, catching you up on what happened on NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn and SummerSlam, and we'll keep you all up to date. And that's all the this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. I put it all together in one podcast for you. We're going to be having more updates, like I said, from NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn and SummerSlam on the way. But are you ready for NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn tonight? And are you ready for SummerSlam tomorrow night? I think these two shows are really going to be really interesting and fun to watch. So we want to make sure you go sign up for that WWE Network. It's free. Once you sign up, you get a free month of the WWE Network. In order to get a free month of the WWE Network, though, you need to start at the beginning of the month, the first day of the month. Also, if you go to Walmart and you can get what they call the WWE Network gift card, and you get 3 months worth of the WWE Network for $9.99. You pay for 3 months, but each month is the same price for $9.99. And it's well worth getting, worth signing up for. Everybody will get the WWE Network, and we'll see you tonight on the WWE All results page for NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn. But also, just because we're going live on a page for NXT's TakeOver Brooklyn tonight, doesn't mean you have to stop to go get the WWE Network. We don't want you to stop there. Go get that WWE Network, because you can get the WWE Network, watch it on the WWE Network, but also tune in on the WWE All results page for the live chat, the live commentary. We'll be giving you there. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in for this week's. We're going to have more podcasts coming on the way here today. It's going to be a very busy day for me, but we're going to keep you up to date on what's going on in WWE. More news on the way right here on the All-Star Wrestling Podcast. And here is one of the most newest theme song for WWE. It's called Dreams I Have. We're going to let you listen to this. I want to thank each and one of y'all for tuning in and have a good day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Make it real, 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 real. Putting work in, gonna blow your mind, 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 mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise.
Damn right, yeah, I'm going in. Setting my sights high, let it go and then let them know how it go and when. They be thinking lights out, then I go again. Gotta blaze the route, got a couple foul haters, I phase them out. All of y'all praise the doubt, I raise the cloud. My favorite, how I'm the favorite now. Any given time, I can fast forward. Y'all can sit in line, I be past all it. When I know it's mine, I don't ask for it. Why doesn't everyone know if I'll last for it? I'm just counting the miles like a dashboard. The distance I've traveled from then until now, well, I need a new passport. These are the dreams that I've had, I don't ask for them. I make it real.
Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise. Make it real. Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise.
Raise glass, take a drink of some. Greatness of the faces I've been among. No stopping me when I'm on. See, y'all gon' know when the winter come. Gotta state the truth. Got 99 problems, all ways to lose. 99 ways to choose and days to do whatever it takes just to make a move. Sick and tired of all of y'all has-beens looking at me and all of y'all asking, is it money or is it the passion he's after? I'm swerving while all of y'all crashing. I'm just counting the miles like a dashboard. The distance I've traveled from then until now, well, I need a new passport. These are the dreams that I've had, I don't ask for them. I make it real.
Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise. Make it real. Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise.
Damn right, yeah, I'm going in. Setting my sights high, let it go and then let them know how it go and when. They be thinking lights out, then I go again. Gotta blaze the route, got a couple foul haters, I phase them out. All of y'all praise the doubt, I raise the cloud. My favorite, how I'm the favorite now. Any given time, I can fast forward. Y'all can sit in line, I be past all it. When I know it's mine, I don't ask for it. Why doesn't everyone know if I'll last for it? I'm just counting the miles like a dashboard. The distance I've traveled from then until now, well, I need a new passport. These are the dreams that I've had, I don't ask for them. I make it real.
Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise. Make it real. Putting work in, gonna blow your mind. Doing it big, won't apologize. Make it about to stay, never got the rise.
Raise glass, take a drink of some. Greatness of the faces I've been among. No stopping me when I'm on. See, y'all gon' know when the winter come. Gotta state the truth. Got 99 problems, all ways to lose. 99 ways to choose and days to do whatever it takes just to make a move. Sick and tired of all of y'all has-beens looking at me and all of y'all asking, is it money or is it the passion he's after? I'm swerving while all of y'all crashing. I'm just counting the miles like a dashboard. The distance I've traveled from then until now, well, I need a new passport.